running a little bit late. And we have a huge audience tonight. I'm excited. And we have no superintendent. He is ill. So we'll stumble through. So anyway, the first item on the agenda would be the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's see, who shall we have lead the pledge this time? Donnie, would you like to lead the pledge this time, please?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Donnie. Okay. The next item is the adoption of the agenda. Are there any changes or amendments to the agenda?
I would like to amend the agenda to exclude the consent agenda.
Motion has been made. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Motion has been made by Susie and seconded by Dustin to amend the agenda and remove the consent agenda portion from the agenda. All those in favor signify by raising your hand. All those opposed? We have one in opposition. The motion carries.
What are we amending it? Or can we amend the consent agenda, or what are we doing with that?
We have a question as to can we amend it or not, so we just decided to take it out for this time. We're going to find out.
Ask you if we-
So we will next move on to commendations. Student commendations. Let's start with the high school this time. Luke, that doesn't mean you can leave early though.
You have powder puff. Come on, man. How many things going on? It's been busy. I'd like to introduce Miss Courtney Carlton as our student of the month, please. There's a nice little ooh. Oops. That's for you. You get a t-shirt. And you get a Subway card. Good stuff. Okay, I can read some stuff back. What do we got? This is from Mr. Blanchard. There have been very few students who have given as much of their time to Nisai School as Courtney. Besides their involvement in the sport of champions, soccer, FFA, concessions, FBLA, Smile, Honor Society, Pep Club, Sack Keeper, yeah, for wrestling, yeah. She maintains a 4.0 GPA. Courtney is the quintessential student who deserves everything she's earned and more. Her work ethic is hard to match. Others need to watch out, for the force is strong with this young Padawan learner, and she'll be greatly missed by all next year. May the force be with you, Mr. Blanchard. And then this says for Mr. Sapp, what can you say about Courtney Carlton that everyone doesn't already know? She's a wonderful student, check. She's a great friend, check. She's a wonderful teammate, check. She's incredibly intelligent, check. She makes every situation, class, team, and event better, check. And she has an incredibly bright future, check. Look, I could go on and on about the type of student and person Courtney is. Everyone knows this. What Courtney needs to hear is that we appreciate having her in our school and our community. Far too few students are able to overcome the obstacles of having parents as teachers and come out normal on the other side. All jokes aside, Courtney is a blessing to her family, our school, and the community of Nissa. Thank you for making everyone else's day better. Miss Courtney Carlton, high school student of the month.
Thank you. We will now move on to the elementary school. We'll leave the middle school for last.
Okay, I'll have Miss Book do our first student of the month from grades 3.
So can we have Ella come up? Our student of the month for grades 3 through 5 is Miss Ella Dahl from 4th grade. me she loves coming to school. She has a smile on her face, she's a joy to be around, and has a genuine love of learning. From Mrs. Moats and Miss Porter. Ella has amazing style. She always has something exciting to share. She works hard every day. She doesn't let her frustration stop her from trying. She brightens my day every time I see her, and she is an example to me. From Mrs. Bounds. And the last one, Ella is an absolute joy to have in speech. She brings a smile and a hardworking attitude every single day. She loves to have fun while learning, growing, and doing her best in all things. Ella is a light to my days, and I am lucky to know her. From Miss White. Congratulations.
From our kindergarten, Amelia Sanchez, would you come forward? Our little one. All right, Amelia is a very sweet student. She is happy to be at school and eager to learn. Amelia is also a great friend. She notices when her classmates need help and is quick to jump in and assist. I can count on her to be attentive during instruction and participate in class discussions. When students are working independently, Amelia stays on task and kindly encourages others to do the same. And she's got a great smile.
Mr. Pratt, we would like to have someone from the board translate for her parents, please.
Okay.
Can you read the?
They speak English.
Oh, do they?
Oh,
Yes, thank you.
I talked to them on the phone.
Okay.
okay.
So I'm not sure.
Thank you.
We just wanted to
I
make sure.
appreciate it. Yeah, we appreciate that.
We'll now move on to the middle school.
Alrighty, our middle school student of the month is Preston B. Oliveira.
There we go.
Alright, from Mr. Newbie. Preston is a wonderful student and is always kind and helpful to his peers. He's a true role model for his class and puts himself in the service of other students. It's been a privilege to have him in class. From Mr. Moyes, I love Preston's positive and curious attitude. I can always count on him to try his best in all he does. From Mr. Long, Preston is fantastic. He's so willing to help and assist in any way possible. He's happy and genuinely interested in learning. He's kind to other students and wants to be successful. He's always glad to hear when the teams at NISA win. Every day, Preston is progressing in his comprehension of physical education and his ability to perform. We're lucky to have him at NISA. And last one from Mr. Hurt. It's been great having Preston in my 7th grade social studies class this year. Preston is an excellent student and works hard at all activities in class. Preston may not be the most talkative person, but he's always going the extra mile. Preston takes his academics seriously and is a great example to his fellow classmates. Preston's peers see his example, and this motivates them to work harder on their own studies. When other students need help in class, Preston is more than willing to lend a helping hand. Preston is a great example of what it means to be a bulldog and is a pleasure to have in the classroom.
Preston, come back.
All right, we have Employee of the Month, Becky Martinez. All right, from Mrs. Bastion, Becky Martinez approaches everything she does at NISA Middle School with heart. She loves every student that comes through the door, and they know it. Becky is kind, hardworking, and dedicated to every student's future. She takes helping our newcomers adjust and learn the content very seriously and with great passion. In every classroom, she diligently works with students. She's always an advocate, and she is thorough. Becky also holds students accountable, makes safety a top priority, and makes sure they all turn into amazing young men and women. Thank you, Becky. And Becky goes above and beyond what is expected every single day. The passion she has for her job and our students is something that does not go unnoticed. Becky works with a lot of our students with limited English skills. She's their advocate, their voice, their cheerleader, and their mama bear at Nissa Middle School. They know they can count on her to hold them accountable while also pushing them to learn at a pace to stay on track and rise above. She can be seen daily sitting with a group of students with their work spread out across the tables as she assists them with absolutely anything they need. Becky buys school supplies for students who need them. She gives and donates anything she can when she notices a student in need. She treats students with respect and kindness, but they know that her expectations are high because she believes in them. Thank you for your dedication to our students, and congratulations.
Okay, and then the last one is our volunteer parent of the month, Rachel Butler. All right, Rachel Butler is directing Beauty and the Beast this fall at Nissa Middle. Plug for you.
Thanks, appreciate it.
This program is a joint effort with Park, Nissa, and the surrounding communities. Rachel jumped into this endeavor with enthusiasm and joy. She's pulled together an outstanding group of leaders. This program serves the entire district and has a profound impact on our middle schoolers in particular. Our middle schoolers are benefiting from her experience, her joy of theater, and her enthusiasm for the art form in general. She has jumped in to figure out how all of the technical aspects work, has accepted every student that has auditioned, and with 100 plus students auditioning, this is a very special kind of organization and dedication to make sure that every student can be involved and shines. In addition to her hard work on the show, she has chaperoned our choir with our middle schoolers, attending the tonality workshop at Boise State University. And she also treats the kids with kindness and appreciation for what they have to offer the world. Thank you. That's for Mrs. Fashion. Rachel Butler has given so much time and energy to Beauty and the Beast. She has been so easy to work with and has been so accepting and accommodating student and parent needs while also having a great vision for the entire project. She has worked through any conflict and difficulty with grace. I've really had a great time working with her. Thank you so much, Kathleen Gervais. Rachel Butler is a creative and involved parent. With her many years of travel, she has gained invaluable experience and is a wonderful asset to our community. As a choir teacher, it has been a relief and a thrill to have a knowledgeable parent on hand who's always ready to jump in and help with activities such as rehearsals, field trips, and even concessions for athletic events. I'm so excited to have her as part of our community and even more excited to see all her hard work pay off with the upcoming play.
Not to run, but rehearsal is happening now,
Yeah.
so thank you.
Thank you. And
Got your picture.
yes, pictures.
Take your picture first.
Here?
Yeah, right there.
So, for all our commendations, our individuals, all please step into the hall and have your pictures taken. And you're all welcome to come back to the meeting if you would like. Everyone understands.
Congratulations, guys. She got such awesome sisters, huh? She's so cool. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. We will now move on to the next item, which are visiting patrons and delegations. First item is our elementary staff 5th grade field trip.
Well, thank you. Mrs. Olson has been an instrument in our hands for helping us increase our students' capabilities of having experiences that will help them in the sciences and math. And so, again, we have submitted for a grant to go to, through OMSI, and to go back to Camp Gray in Newport, Oregon on March 12th through the 14th of 2025. Seems like a long ways away, but planning is getting started, and we need your approval for an overnight opportunity for our 5th graders from this elementary school to travel there and to have the overnight experiences through the 14th, and then to return back to Nissa. All 5th grade students will be invited to attend, and there will be an alternative opportunity for parents that choose not to send their children to that, but education will be provided for them back at the school during those days. Anything else?
The grant we applied for and we were accepted was a little over $70,000. So we have about $850 per student attending the trip, which is very generous. So we are exploring this year a little bit of an additional excursion to the Oregon Aquarium while we're out in Newport, so that the students can have an interactive experience there at the tide pools and learn just even more about the ecosystems on the coast, which would be in our budget for what we applied for the grant this year. So OMSI has graciously offered to house us another night with low charge, no meals. We'd have to figure that out on our own, but would give us our room one more night so that we could experience that. So more on that, but that's an exciting addition to the trip this year that we're hoping to plan for.
Sounds great. So how many students are we approximately, because I know that some will have.
70?
Yeah, the grant was written for 85 participants, which would be a student count, but we typically don't get that high of a student count, and then we would have a 7-to-1 ratio for chaperones, as well as teachers and an administrator.
So potentially 70 students and 7 chaperones, adults.
7 to 8 adults.
Yeah, we like to bring about 7 more adults in addition to the teaching staff. So,
Does anyone else have any questions?
In the past, weren't there some guidelines that OMSI had that we'd ask them to step away from?
yeah. So year before last, they had their inclusivity commitment that stated that people would be invited to share their pronouns while on the trip. Our experience last year, we did not ask them for any special change, and in turn, they introduced themselves by their preferred pronouns if they feel comfortable, but they did not ask any of the children or our staff, and they don't encourage or invite the conversation.
Okay. So it's a non-issue.
It was very much a non-issue for the
Perfect.
last 2 years, so
That was
we're,
last year.
yeah,
I like it.
we do.
I started that field trip in 1988.
You tell me that every time, and I'm so glad to keep the mantle going for you.
She is a great one to keep it going, and thank you, yeah. So we're seeking approval for this trip so we can continue the detailed planning with the
So-
staff at Miss Elementary.
If we have, are there no other questions? Do I hear a motion?
I would move to approve the 5th grade elementary field trip to OMSI in March of 2025.
I'll second.
Did I hear you're signing up to be a chaperone?
I said yes.
It's tempting, actually.
I said
Get
yes.
away from the office.
I'll second.
Donnie will encourage you to.
He's a pro.
Thank you all.
We've had a motion made by Dustin and seconded by Donnie and by Maribel. So, all those in favor of the 5th grade field trip in March of 25?
Thank you all.
Unanimous. All right, next on our list is student representative. And she will
So she's
be-
playing Powder Puff, so she submitted this video for you guys.
Good evening, school board members. For those of you who weren't here for my introduction last month, my name is Katie Korn. I'm a senior at Nissa, and I'm the Associated Student Body President, so that's why I'm presenting tonight. Normally I would be here in person, but this week is our homecoming week, and I'm currently out on the football field playing Powder Puff football. So if you hear yelling, Might be me, might be someone else. But the first thing I wanted to start off with tonight is just following up on some things that we talked about last month. I believe it was Mr. Hawkins who mentioned ways to get our community involved and showing them the good things that we're doing at the NISA schools. And we actually have something very exciting in the works for that. So Mr. Sapp is our advisor. He's new this year as our advisor. And he had an idea that he brought from a school where he did student council before. And it's a Veterans Day dinner for the veterans in our community. So on Veterans Day, we're going to be hosting a nice dinner, think kind of like the FFA banquet, that kind of food and things like that. And the student council members will be serving them, and it'll just be a way to say thank you to our veterans for the things that they do in our community. And I think this is awesome because that's one of my goals for student council is try to be involved with the community, help the community, say thank you to the community for all the ways in which they support our school. So I think that's super awesome. And then the other thing that we talked about last meeting was finding a way for students to have some sort of escape outside of school. So I brought that up at our next meeting right after the school board meeting, and I said, okay, student council, we need a way for kids to have something to do outside of school. And we looked and we saw we have all these really great programs at NISA, or some of our programs that maybe have the potential to be really great. And we realized most of our student council members are already in at least one extracurricular club, sport, activity, things like that. We have kids who play soccer, kids who play football, kids who run cross country. And then I'm the BPA president, we have our HOSA president and our FFA president are all in student council. So we talked about just telling people around us, like, this is the clubs that I'm in and it's amazing and you should join. So we're hoping to try and boost membership in our clubs and extracurriculars. And I do just want to say that the PEP Club is doing amazing at this. The PEP Club has been so great. This is their first year, I believe. I think they started up like at the end of last year. But they're doing awesome. They have so many kids who want to join and they're doing all these great things for the school. Which kind of leads into talking about homecoming week, which is this week. And between student council and PEP Club, that was one of the things that we kind of focused on was how can we create events that students are going to want to go to, that they're going to have fun with. And the PEP Club has planned a ton of those events. We're super grateful that student council didn't have to plan those, but they've also given out these little punch cards, and when you go to like Powder Puff football or some of the sporting events that are going on, you get like a little punch, and if you fill up your punch card at the end of the week, then there's a prize. I think it's a t-shirt and like a little foam football that says NISA on it, which I'm hoping is one of the ways that they can get kids to participate. And I think it's going to be one of the best homecoming weeks we've had in my high school career. But I am saying that at the start of the week, so we'll see how we're feeling when the week is over. But another exciting thing that's happening this week that's kind of independent of homecoming, but also kind of perfect that it's during homecoming week, is the Jolene Reese Court dedication. And this is another thing that kind of goes back to community and helping students get involved. And I think we're going to have a great turnout. And I know this isn't necessarily specifically high school, but it is a high school volleyball game, so I did want to touch on it. And we're also asking Miss Reese to be our first Grand Marshal for the homecoming parade this year. So we've got, I think it's a convertible Corvette that she's going to get to ride in. She can lead our parade, and when I give her her certificate, she said she was going to practice the princess wave. So homecoming parade on Thursday afternoon, and you see Miss Reese just kind of princess wave, and that's because she's our Grand Marshal. We're super grateful for all the things that she does for our district, and we wanted to show a little extra appreciation for her. And I love the way we've been appreciating her this week and this whole school year. I think Ms. Reese is awesome. We have lots of other really great staff members who've also been here for a long time. So we've been just talking about that at the high school. So at the end of my presentation, I would normally ask if there's anything I need to be aware of, if you have any questions or anything like that. But since I'm not here, this is not the work since I'm filming this at home. Just go ahead and shoot me an email. My email is 06acorn@nisasd.org. Acorn is pretty easy to remember, so if there's anything that I can help with in our district from a student council standpoint, or if you have any questions, go ahead and let me know. Thank you, and have a good evening.
Great presentation. Luke, if you could fill us in just on a couple of things.
Okay.
Homecoming parade is
Thursday afternoon. It'll start like at 2:45ish. It'll be the 8th period. It'll run obviously downtown through the normal area and turn around about Bob's and come back from that direction. Yeah. So it just makes it a little short-lived loop. Excuse me.
Okay, and homecoming game is
Friday, starting at 7 against Mackay. Prior to that, there is a volleyball game also. So there's a volleyball game on that same night, and then starts at 1, correct?
Yes, volleyball is moved up to 1.
Moved up to 1 and then,
JV's at 1.
Yeah.
Varsity's at 2.
correct. And then so we'll have that, and then we'll also have a, like, what do you want to call it, tailgate for the kids between games. So
Sounds great.
that's
And-
that part, and then what else do we have this week? Coordinations on Wednesday, 8th period also, so that same time, that 2:45 time.
Okay, and the dedication of the Jolene Reese Court
On
is?
Tuesday, so
Tuesday.
tomorrow, approximately probably about 7-ish,
About
somewhere in there.
7-ish.
The actual presentation.
Is it in between the JV and varsity game kind of?
Yeah, but we have a try match, so it'll run a little bit longer tomorrow. Yeah,
Okay.
so be there a little bit early, obviously, right? But I think that's about the
More
approximate
blue
time
jacket.
it will be.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that we should know about for homecoming?
I think the Chamber's posted dress-up days, and I think we're also posting them on our deal, so like all the schools that participated in that, elementary, middle, and high, so
Tomorrow's tropical day.
tomorrow's Tropical Tuesday. Yeah.
Today was Zoom day.
Sounds great.
Zoom day, business up top, relax
Hence
down below.
Carlton.
I did change out of my sweats for the meeting tonight.
Different.
Got all three schools involved, so it's great. We picked themes. Picked themes at all 3 schools, which would be appropriate for all 3 schools, so that was one thing that the student council worked really hard on. It's really been, Katie talked about it, but the idea of the student council and the pep club chain, like sharing responsibilities and discussing, I think it's been good collaboration between them. So let the student council take more of a student leadership role and participate in, like, for example, site council, and they're also gonna have a member on the equity committee and stuff like that. So really move into the realm of student government, right, rather than, you know,
That's exciting.
activities. Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
That's very exciting.
Yeah, and the other group's doing obviously a really good job of, they plan like all the activities, like today, for example, lots of volleyball and so,
Great,
and then the powder puff game.
great. Any questions for Luke, since he's serving as Katie's spokesperson today? Okay. Since there's not, we'll move on to public comment. Do we have any public comment this evening? Hearing none, we'll move on to Crystal, financial report.
I wish I was as exciting as Katie and Luke, but I'm not, so.
You're more exciting, Crystal.
So, good evening. So tonight I am presenting the school financials for month ending September 30th of this fiscal year. The first report in your packet is a review of our general fund operating statement. Can't talk tonight, sorry. Just a brief, the first page is a summary of July, August, and September. If you flip it to the second page, you'll see the monthly breakdown. A couple things to highlight for the month of September. Our revenue coming in was a little over $1.5 million. And then our expenditures were a little over $2 million. And so that's created a deficit, which is not something I normally report to you guys. And you might be asking why, or maybe you know why. We've kind of, we're in a situation where our virtual school, our numbers have exceeded what we initially reported to the state when I report our numbers for our state school fund. So it's a good problem to have. However, the state has not yet reconciled the state school fund for the year, and so our payment has not been adjusted to reflect that increase in our virtual school. So until that happens, our revenue that we're currently getting in with the state school fund does not include those additional virtual students. However, once they do reconcile the state school fund and release our payment, they will back pay us, so I will be reporting a large payment that month.
Any idea when you want
I talked to a state representative today. He said they will look at it in November if they feel, they don't just re-reconcile the state school fund based on one school. It needs to be a lot of schools that have changed in order to do it in November and reflect the payment in December. So hopefully December. If not, they will use second period ADM, which is reported in January, and then we'll see our payment adjusted after that. As always, I include our local government investment accounts where we have our money. It's just the statement. And then the statement from the county showing the taxes that were paid this last month. Our next month in November, we all know our property taxes are due, and so we'll start seeing revenue for property taxes for this current fiscal year. Right now, what we're seeing is just back payments of taxes from prior years. Our middle school bond fund, we're at a balance of almost $17,000, about where I think it was gonna hit. We're just collecting that tax money, and then we'll make our debt service payment in December that we owe. After that report is just our LGIP account for that. For our middle school bond, we keep that separate from our district account. The next report is our food service operating statement. Happy to report we have a ending fund balance in the black, just almost $1,500. September was a good month. We were in school all 4 days, I think, every single week, so that helps when we're serving. This month it'll go down a little bit as we've got parent-teacher conferences coming up, so we won't serve next Thursday. I think we're off. So that does affect our food service revenue. But yeah, that's that ending fund balance. The next report is just the approval of the bills. This is everything from last month. I think I ran it through September 3rd. So this report is September 4th through October 3rd, everything that left the district's account. And the final report is the payroll report for the month of September. We wanted to give a fiscal year 24 audit update. We had our auditors do their second visit to the district first week of October, I believe. Feels like it was just yesterday, but I think it was 2 weeks ago already. They finished their field work. They won't be back, so everything else will now just be virtually to wrap it up. And then they'll have a draft for Superintendent Hawkins and I to go over, and then best case scenario, they can report in November to the board, but typically it's in December. We have until December to report and then get all of that to the state. I think the only other thing I wanted to mention that's not really financially, but because I joined the equity committee, we meet this Wednesday. I don't think I heard that be said yet tonight, so that's the next meeting, right, Jan? Okay. At 5:30.
And where at?
Here in the boardroom. So, does anyone have questions?
Are there any questions for Crystal on the report?
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Since Superintendent Hawkins is not here, I skipped over that, and I forgot to ask Matt to give a report on the federal.
Sure.
On the programs.
Migrant Bill briefly. Our migrant preschool playground, which you approved funding for last year, is installed, and the students began playing on it last year, so, or last week, sorry. We like to do things before you approve them.
No.
So there's that. We returned from the State Migrant Conference about a week ago or so, and one of the interesting bits of information that was shared there is that the state is looking to combine migrant budgets. So currently we have 3 migrant budgets: the regular school year budget, the summer school budget, and the preschool budget. They're all separate. We get separate funding for each, and they're considering putting it all into one pot and allowing us to divide it up however we would like to do that. A lot of states do that, and we have a discussion about that, so that may be coming in the next year or two. The after-school program for the migrant students at the middle school begins tomorrow, and so we're grateful for that. We'll have about 7 or 8 students in one class, and we're looking to start another class hopefully in the next 2 weeks. It's been going for several weeks at the elementary school. I think we have 20 students, close to 20 students in that program. And as far as our migrant numbers are concerned, we're right at about 170 now, and probably will increase gradually over the course of the rest of the year. May end up the school year at around 200, something like that. So that's it for migrant.
questions from that? Thank you very much. We will now move on to new business, Division 22 standards.
Okay, and I have a statement prepared by Superintendent Hawkins. So by November 1st of each year, school district superintendents are required by OAR 581-022-2305 district assurances of compliance with public school standards to report to their community on the district's status regarding all standards for public elementary and secondary schools. These standards are adopted by the State Board of Education and outlined in the Oregon Administrative Rules, Chapter 581, Division 22. I am delivering this message on behalf of our superintendent, who is currently ill. I am pleased to report that we are in compliance with all Division 22 standards across our 4 locations, the elementary, middle school, high school, and virtual school. This information will be submitted to the Oregon Department of Education and posted on our website for the community to review. Thank you all for your continued support. Do you have any questions or comments about Division 22?
We all had an opportunity to look at those statements after our work session, so any questions? Thank you.
Great.
Okay. Next item, English learners in the Oregon report.
Okay. So this is in regards to this document, which I believe you have in your packets there. I've also provided a very brief one sheet for you, which summarizes some of the important points in the report. Before we talk about that, just as a background real quickly, as you probably know, students are identified as English language learners based first on a home language survey that every parent completes when they enroll their students. And if they answer yes to any of the questions on that report, basically if a language other than English is spoken at home, or if the student uses a language other than English, then the student is assessed for potential services. If they don't score above a certain level of proficiency based on listening, speaking, reading, and writing assessment, then they qualify for ELD services, English Language Development Services, and they receive them. And they receive them no matter where they are, elementary, middle, or high school, for approximately 2.5 hours per week, basically every day, for 30 minutes more or less. And the purpose, of course, of those services is to bring those students up to a level of proficiency so that they can interact with the curriculum at a grade level level. So if you're a 5th grade student, the idea is to be able to interact with grade level work at the 5th grade level at such a point so that you don't necessarily need supportive services. And so the idea is really to get those students to proficiency as quickly as possible. And you can see how important that is if you look. Oh, I haven't passed this out to you. Let me pass this out first. You know what I'm talking about. So the data on here comes from the report. Again, it's highly shortened version, which hopefully will help you appreciate the report a little bit more, since it's unlikely that you'll be reading the whole thing. But if you look on that little chart there under ELA proficiency, which stands for English Language Arts Proficiency, this is an assessment that all of our students 3rd through 11th grade take every year. It shows that current English language learners are only proficient on that exam at about 5%. So only 5% of English language learners pass that English language arts exam at a proficient level, basically at grade level. But former English language learners, as you see that next number there, pass it at a rate of 45%. So huge difference between current English learners and students who have achieved proficiency in English language arts. They pass it at almost the same rate as students who have never been English language learners. You see that's 48% there. So big difference, and obviously we want to get them there as quickly as possible so that they can deal adequately with grade level grade level material. To go back to some of the other numbers on this paper here, the report tells us that currently there are 18% of the students in Oregon are either current or former English language learners, so almost 1 out of 5 students in the state. And that of that 1 out of 5 students, 76% of them speak Spanish as their native language, and the other quarter speak another language. Their average time to proficiency is 7 years, which is really a considerable amount of time. I mean, think about an entering kindergartner will not become proficient on average until 6th grade. And of course, we want to get them proficient as quickly as possible, faster than 7 years if possible. But that is the average time. Then there's some numbers there on the funding we receive. For English language learners, we receive 50% more funding than we do for non-English language learners. $14,400 versus $9,600. Then the other information I just wanted to provide you there is at the bottom, and that deals specifically with our NISA students. Currently, 26% of our students in the district are English language learners, about 300 of them. That ranks us 6th out of 197 districts in the state, so we're way up there in terms of our percentage of English language learners. And of those 300 or so English language learners, 52% of them are also migrant students, and so they're also receiving migrant funding and services.
What's a never ELS?
So basically, a native English speaker is what they call, what the state calls a never EL. It's kind of a misleading term in a way, but okay.
How much during the summer, when our English language learners are not in school, how much do they lose as far as proficiency?
Well, I think on average, all of our students lose several months of instruction. I think we'd all agree to that, whether they're English language learners or not. I mean, what would you guys say, between a half a year and maybe more than that, right?
Data typically shows a half a year of learning step back in ELA in particular.
Well, if you look at it, percentages of the, I've been customary to about 10 to 15% regression over summer slide.
Certain situations, if they're Spanish only speaking at home, certain situations they've come back knowing almost little to no English again, and so they're starting over as well.
That is a concern. I've seen that happen too often.
With registration at the beginning of the school year, all being online on the app, if a family does the language survey, are all students in that household tested, or are students, do you pick and choose who gets tested?
Everybody's tested. Everybody who enrolls for school is tested.
Because it's one language survey per family? I think they fill one out per student.
Per student, yeah.
Each student has a name.
And again, they're only tested if the survey says that, again, that a language other than, yeah, they're not tested automatically.
Do we have other questions for Mr. Miller? Thank you. Okay, the next item is the OSEA contract. Gina?
Okay, so as you know, after many months of negotiations, we finally came to an agreement and found out that the contract was ratified by the classified union. They did receive a 17% increase for this year. That will also be, they'll get back pay through July, I believe it was.
July 1st.
Yeah.
Retro pay.
Yeah, retro pay for that. Next year, we agreed to a 6% increase. They also will receive a $1,600 max contribution towards their insurance, so that was a couple $100 increase than what they were previously receiving. And we have signed an MOU that we're going to talk about time clocks before the end of the school year, and our hope is to get everybody, all of our classified staff using time clocks before, electronic time clocks. Right now they use time cards, so that's our objective for before the end of the year. Any questions about that?
Are there any questions? Okay, so it has been ratified by.
Yes, yes it has.
So this one should come up for a motion to accept, for the board to accept. In that case, do I hear a motion from the board on accepting the ratified collective bargaining agreement between the school district and the Oregon School Employees Association, NISA?
I'll make a motion to accept the OSEA contract as presented.
I'll second that motion.
It's been motioned by Donnie and seconded by Megan to accept the OSEA contract as presented. All those in favor, raise your hand. The motion carries. Okay. We'll move on to the last item, which is the board report. First of all, I am going to take these out of sequence here. I want to remind the board that October 14th through the 18th is the National School Lunch Week, and the board is invited to go to lunch, to attend lunch.
Is there a
at
specific
schools.
day and time?
I don't know when the specific day and time, not been
What's for
told.
lunch Wednesday?
I can't remember, but I looked this morning and it was really good. I'm sure you're welcome any day
But I
this
mean,
week.
like what time from what time?
Depends on which building you go to, but
We're 12:21 to 12:51.
You want to go to the high school?
High school's at 12:21 to 12:50.
12:21. And how much is it?
Elementary's 11 to
10:50 to 12.
So what time is the elementary school lunch?
10:50 to 12. We have 3 rotations.
They're every 20 minutes from 10:50 until noon.
That sounds like brunch to me.
With a for cleaning.
That's why we worked with Jennifer, and we serve a snack every day to every kid.
And the middle school, you have lunch at middle school and.
Same time as high school, yeah.
Same time as high school.
Mhm.
Okay.
So tomorrow's beef nachos. Orange chicken Wednesday, beef patty Thursday.
Orange chicken.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So I would like to remind you that, that our nutritional services have to meet certain standards. And I have heard different comments about the food that we prepare. And we do need to remember that we do have standards. And when I've had lunch at the schools, it's been very good. So, and at least you have more menus than I have at home. I'd also like to remind you that homecoming week is this week. So, and we heard the dates and times. Particularly reminding us that the Jolene Reese dedication of the court, it will be about 7 o'clock on the 15th, tomorrow. Let's see, October 23rd and 24th are parent-teacher conferences, and I believe the 30th are the elementary school awards. And let's see, the Veterans Day celebration from the, let's see, the elementary school is having one on the 7th. And when is the one that Katie talked about for the?
On Veterans.
That is on Veterans Day, okay, which is Monday. And that is a reminder that the 11th is a holiday. That is the day that, it's a Monday, and that's the day that our board meeting is scheduled. But our board meeting will be changed to Tuesday the 12th in November because of Veterans Day. Okay, to go on here, I'd like to let you know that Susie and I attended the Chamber of Commerce meeting last Tuesday, and I would like to commend Trish Book, Ryan, and Tracy Cleaver for representing our school district so well at the Chamber of Commerce. It was very nice. Then I would like to tell the board that the Legislative Roadshow, which is scheduled for the 21st of October, it's a week from tonight, has been postponed. This is by recommendation of the ESD and the NISA Ontario and Vail superintendents. They talked to OSBA saying that if all the school districts are going to get together with all the school board members for a legislative roadshow, we'd like to have the ethics course that we have to take done at the same time. Well, I talked to Mark Redmond today, and he said that OSBA let him know a week ago that, well, in fact, it wasn't a week ago, it's just a few days ago, that the ethics committee has not approved the ethics program that OSBA has proposed to them. So Malheur County ESD felt, and our school districts felt, that we would wait and postpone this meeting until we can do it all together to maximize the use of our board members' time. Board members not just here, but the ones in Adrian, Jordan Valley, all of us have to take this ethics training. Also, I'd like to remind you that OSBA convention is in Portland on November 7th through November 9th. Susie, Jasmine, and I are going. Oh, Maribel, great. 4 of us. I'm excited. That'll be very nice. So we're looking forward to that. It looks like it will be a good meeting. The next board work session will be on the 4th of November, and our next regular meeting will, as I said before, be on the 12th, which is a Tuesday. So, is there anything else that you all would like to bring up, amplify, discuss?
I just have a question. What are we having the work session for?
The work session before we go?
What are we having the work session for?
Where are we having it?
What is it for?
We'll find out. I'm not sure. If we don't need to have it, it will be canceled.
The reason why I'm asking is because usually, unless they're, the operating procedures are pretty much saying we shouldn't have marathon meetings. that's why I was asking.
Mhm.
If we're scheduling it, then we should have something ready for it.
Okay, so this is just to let you know, save that date, just in case, okay? So, and as soon as we find out, for sure, I'll let you know. I like having you there, don't I? So, in that case, are there any other comments, whatever, from the board? Questions to the board? In that case, this meeting is adjourned.